Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment, the perfect blend of paranormal and pop culture, with your host, Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
That's right, it's me, your host who's only haunted by his mysterious past, Joe Wakefield.
And I am still Ryan Lang. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So, those of you returning listeners, thank you for joining us again. We have a great show in store for you. And for those of you who may be visiting us for the first time, and maybe it's your first Earthling Entertainment show, well, you might be wondering, what do you guys do? What is this show all about? What can be expected?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you. What we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes it's cryptozoology. Other times it's a haunting or a myth or a legend, but it's always spooky. And that is why it is in our first section known as spooky stuff.
Scary.
That, of course, is followed by disclosure discussion, which is all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions, UFO stories, photos, videos, interdimensionals, stuff like that. That's what I like to talk about in disclosure discussion.
That's right. Then the second half of the show, the latter half, if you will, is all dedicated to pop culture and entertainment. Sometimes we have celebrity guests. Other times we have quiz games or audio dramas or some kind of entertainment news. So we say goodbye to celebrities in a section. We say, well, now they're dead. And we even have, well, it's just a whole big mess of pop culture and entertainment. A lot of fun. And then those two things put together, our first half, which is the spooky, and our second half, which is the entertainment, form a delicious moon pie of a podcast known as Earthling Entertainment. Welcome. So the real question is, was that a good description of our show, newcomers, or was that just a bunch of nonsense? Did we help you out, or are you just even more confused?
I don't know. I'm kind of confused. And
Well,
I do
Ryan,
this like every week.
He's always confused.
Huh.
Well, there's something I want to talk to you before we get started here, before we jump into our spooky stuff. I'm watching a show called Silo, and I'm a little late to the game because it already has 2 seasons out. Apparently there'll be 4, and it all takes place in without giving anything away, let's say a giant community living underground, seemingly like a bomb shelter. And I was thinking about other scenarios like Fallout with the vaults are another one. You could actually buy missile silos in the middle of nowhere in America and turn it into bomb shelters. I think some guy, a rich guy, bought it and he's like making hotels in there.
Why am I reminded of Blast from the Past, the classic with Brendan Fraser?
Oh, that is such a good film.
Where they thought the bombs were dropping and they locked themselves in their own little bomb shelter and they came out thinking like the world was mutated.
Yeah, so Brendan Fraser and his family, what was it? Christopher Walken
was the dad.
That was the 1950s when those characters in that film went underground. So they all kind of had the weird 50s aesthetic. So when Brendan Fraser's character comes out to see the destroyed world
for the first time because he was born in the shelter.
Yeah, it's the late 90s and he has all the 1950s sensibilities and it's a cute little rom-com. You know, what is it? Nathan Fillion had a very small role in that. It was one of the first things I ever seen him in.
Who's he again?
Captain Mel Reynolds from Firefly.
Oh, see, Firefly reference. I didn't watch Firefly.
He's an actor who's in many, many things. He's in The Rookie. He was Castle in the show Castle.
Oh, then I'm sure I know who he is.
Yeah, you definitely know who he is. He's also friends with James Gunn, so he just appears in everything. He's the new, He's the Green Lantern with that weird bowl cut in the new Superman trailer.
Oh, see, I need to watch that again. I didn't even catch Green Lantern in it. I am a terrible watcher when it comes to watching trailers, evidently.
Apparently, I just how do you miss these things?
Ryan? I don't know. I'll be fair. To be fair, I never cared about Superman. I never really liked it. My favorite part about like the what's his name's Superman, the most recent one,
Henry Cavill.
Thank you. Was how it was more like an alien. Movie.
Superman's always an alien.
Right, but he was just always, to me, just like Clark Kent, blah, 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 able to, you know what I mean? Like all the old school Superman stuff. That's what I know of him. So I saw that and I was like, it's cool and all, but he's just too powerful. It's boring. Unless you have this rock that comes from a planet that was supposedly destroyed, but every bad guy can just somehow find it.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
So apparently, when Krypton blew up, it did rain Earth with kryptonite. But
oh, it did. Oh, okay, see, I didn't know that.
well, all that aside, I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying. All that aside, Ryan, watch Brightburn. Brightburn is a great movie. It's a horror movie, and it's what if Superman was like inherently evil.
Okay, I would. I mean, in a weird way, it gives me the Boys vibe, right? Like with Highlander.
Kind of. Well, I mean, the comic I assume came out before Brightburn the film, but you could say that Brightburn may have been, in the room when they were pitching The Boys, because it is exactly that. It's like an
Yeah.
evil superhero kind of story. What's funny is I started this whole thing to ask you what would be in your bomb shelter.
I know. And now we're on Superman.
Yeah, because the whole point was like, how do I get into this whole post-apocalyptic world? All right, well, Ryan, what would be in your bomb shelter?
Oh man,
Apparently not Superman comics.
my projector for sure.
Your projector, yeah.
Got to have some extra bulbs.
Well,
I love my projector.
You'd have to get some physical media, Ryan.
I know.
I
you're
lent
right.
you a Blu-ray player more than a year ago.
I still have it, but I haven't even plugged it in. It's still in the same tote bag you gave it to me in.
Which is funny because we were supposed to review a movie and you never watched the DVD.
Yep. We were supposed to do the documentary on the holiday special of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
Not
that
really
just
not
never
really
came.
timely anymore, bud.
You see, there's one thing I'm really good at is procrastination. Let me tell you.
Oh. So your
That
bomb
thing-
shelter would be missing a lot of things.
It would
is
be
what you're telling
missing a lot. Yes, Joe. My bomb shelter would probably not be the safest. Like I would forget things. It's like, so what would be in yours then? What comes to mind?
I don't know, but I always thought like the idea of burying a school bus would be funny. So whether it would just be a room in my bomb shelter that I would build off of, or if I could combine, like you don't want to live in something that small normally. Like part of van life or bus life is you can get out of the van or bus, right? So it would probably be a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But I want to start with burying a school bus. And then through all the entrances, like think about it, you got that little hatch in the top. So that could be like your staircase leading up and down into it. It could be your main entrance. Ooh, you could even set it up to look like your bomb shelter, but it's actually a decoy just in case there's raiders. Because I imagine whatever apocalypse has happened, there's gonna be raiders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if they come in, it's gonna look like your whole setup. Like, oh man, someone lives in this tiny little bomb shelter, but it's really just the entrance. It is my mud room, Ryan. For down below, I have much, much more.
Well, and yeah, you got to have a bar. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, if
Lots of kegs.
you got to think, well, the cakes, that's good, right?
Yeah.
But you got to think of long term. So you'd have to
I
have.
am lots and lots of kegs.
I was thinking more of like a still to make your own alcohol.
That's smart. That's smart.
Like your own
Okay.
brewing. Because like beer, I imagine there's ingredients that aren't renewable. Well, can you renew yeast?
I imagine.
I don't know. It's
There's
like
got to be a way.
I never tried it, but I was told if you got like a spoon of yogurt and you put it into a gallon of milk,
Tony
that gallon
Stark.
of milk would turn into yogurt, right? So if that's what would happen, can you do that with yeast? I think so. I think that's like the whole mother dough concept where you
Right.
can continue the yeast from, right?
I assume so.
And so you might be able to brew beer. It's
So
possible.
you'd have to figure out a way to like make a garden, and you'd have like in a way, right? You'd have to like find out like how could you do that? You'd need UV lights and stuff.
Yes. Somehow maybe you can reflect skylights, kind of like the Egyptians did with mirrors. Although I hear that is actually bullcrap and that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Now, when we were kids, and the Mummy movie told us that that mirror trick would work.
Hey, that is a neat trick.
Yes.
That was the best movie ever made. Anyways, but no. So yeah, that is.
Wait, how far does property lines go? Like, if I start digging into the ground to make my bomb shelter, and let's say it's a normal like lot for a house, if you keep going deeper and deeper, and then you expand your bomb shelter beyond your property line to like other people's neighbors' yards and stuff, is that okay? Like, I know the sky, you don't own the sky above your house, but you can't build a balcony that like dangles over your neighbor's house, or can you? Depending on how high it is. Does it work for below? We have to talk to zoning boards. There's a lot of things.
Yeah. No, I think that as long as you don't bump into a reptilian down there, you're fine. But once you go too deep and you hit the underground civilization of reptilians underneath us, that's probably where you're gonna have to draw the line. That's just,
You think the reptilians? I always thought mole people.
nah, I'm almost certain it's reptilians.
Huh.
But like I don't know how far and vast their underground civilization goes. You know, it's definitely at like more like the northern pole, I believe, is like the area where they get in and out.
Okay,
because,
hold on. So I don't know if you're going on a fun rant or if you're serious, because if you're serious,
I'm dead serious.
I want to know where you got this research. We're going to have a whole reptilian episode in the future, Ryan.
I actually can't, I might get this wrong. I think it was called like the Veronica tapes or something like that. It's this old transcript of an interview, an older one with a reptilian woman. And obviously it would be like, oh, this is BS, but I listened to like people act it out, like, just read it, the transcript and, act. And honestly, when you're listening to it, it was like, huh. Like some of this was like, this kind of sounds about right. And she was just saying that we're basically a product of aliens messing with us and made us, but it's not
Yeah,
them.
but everyone's been saying that.
The
Zachariah
reptilians-
Stitchin's been saying that.
The reptilians had nothing to do with it. They were actually in a war with the people who were related to, so like the human-like aliens went to war with the reptilians. Ancient reptilians shot the beam that we thought was the meteorite that destroyed the dinosaurs, but instead it was a beam that they were trying to use to kind of deter anyone from even wanting Earth for its resources by kind of messing it up. And they just didn't predict what would happen, and it just made a more oxygen-rich atmosphere, released a lot of carbon and stuff like that. So that's how we came to be. So it's just this big thing of they've always been here, that we haven't. So this is actually the reptilians' planet, technically. They fought over it. They pretty much won over it. But one day, these humanoid-like aliens will come back, and they're going to try to fight for this planet again for resources. And certain reptilians are in contact with certain world leaders, and they are trying to help us with that upcoming space war. The meteorite that destroyed the dinosaurs was the first intergalactic space battle that Earth ever encountered.
Well, f me. And with that, let's jump into our first topic, known as spooky stuff. Well, besides that really impressive rant that Ryan just did, our spooky stuff today is on a cuter cryptid than a giant lizard that apparently is responsible for a war and a lot of going on over there.
Yeah, this one is a cute one. It was actually suggested by my girlfriend. So shout out to my girlfriend for this suggestion. This was a really, like Joe said, we don't do a cute cryptid often, and this is a cute one.
That's right, guys. And if you have any cryptids out there that you'd like to hear us talk about, just hit us up at Earthling Entertainment Podcast at gmail.com, or you can message us on Instagram or Facebook.
The Tanuki. A Tanuki, or Japanese raccoon dog, is a real animal with a reputation for magic and mischief. These little fur balls rarely cause serious harm to humans. Some might say this is because they aren't clever enough to fabricate truly dangerous plots, but they are still full of pranks and surprises.
Oh, those sneaky little dicks.
Oh, they're little rascals. In the ancient religions of the Japanese Isles, Tanuki were considered gods and rulers over all things in nature. With the introduction of Buddhism, they gradually lost their status. Like other magical animals, they took the roles of messengers of the gods and guardians of local areas.
So I know the Tanuki isn't quite a raccoon, but it's raccoon in appearance. And I'm imagining a time when I go camping and how they can just get into anything.
Yeah.
And I think they could be magic.
I honestly think they could be too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many can get into a dumpster and then they can't get out.
Well, that's because they're not Tanuki. They're a regular raccoon.
Yeah.
It's like halfway there. It's like Hercules compared to Zeus. There's quite a difference.
There is. But yeah, it's really argued about their origin, they say. So while Tanuki are not generally feared or considered malicious, they are not entirely harmless either. Like humans, each one is a unique individual. While many Tanuki are jovial do-gooders who love the company of humans, some local
Are straight assholes.
some local tales tell of horrible Tanuki who snatch humans to eat or to spirit them away to become servants of the gods. Raccoon dogs, not surprisingly, look like a cross between a raccoon and a small dog. Although they are relatively small animals, their fur is so long and poofy that it can make them look quite plump. A mask of black fur wraps around their eyes, much like our raccoons, giving them the appearance of a trickster or bandit. And they have dog-like paws and a short, poofy tail. Tanukis, who are gifted with magical power, have 8 special traits that differentiate them from their common brethren. They wear a wide-brimmed hat to protect themselves from bad luck and bad weather.
Yeah, so right off the bat, if you see a raccoon wearing a hat, maybe, to tip you off that
that's probably a Tanuki.
it could be a Tanuki.
They hold a bottle of sake, a popular alcohol made of rice, in one hand, which symbolizes virtue. And in the other hand, they hold a promissory note, which symbolizes trust.
I feel like there is a little person out there who just listened to this and thought of the perfect cosplay.
Yes. Well, it only gets better. They have large eyes to survey their world and make decisions, big fluffy tails to give them strength and agility, large scrotums, which represent wealth.
What?
Large scrotums, which represent wealth.
I don't know if that's a one-to-one comparison, Ryan, because let me tell you, my bank account does not, never mind.
Anyways, and they also have a large stomach, which symbolizes tranquility and decisiveness. Finally, they wear a playful, friendly smile, inviting humans to join in them on their games.
Aww.
Raccoon dogs are masters of illusion. They can shapeshift into any form they choose, from a crooked old woman to a bottle of white wine.
Fair enough. I'm remembering like the Wonder Twins, where it's just like, turn into a salmon, and then it's like, turn into a bucket of water.
Yes, you never know.
Never know.
These devious magicians are also good at transporting people and casting small curses.
What's a small curse?
When they are in disguise, they like to use little rhymes to lure people into their games, which inevitably end in inconvenience or embarrassment. Aside from their powerful ability to change their shape, perhaps the most famous attribute that Tanuki possesses is their massive, malleable, magical testicles, which they can adapt to any need. Their testicles can be used as weapons, drums, fans to keep cool, fishing nets, or even umbrellas.
Honestly, it's pretty impressive because I could use mine as an umbrella at best.
At best.
At best.
Like maybe for like a small mouse. Like, here you go, buddy.
So when your girlfriend suggested this cute cryptid, was she aware of all the testicle play?
Oh, well, she does not know. So, surprise, surprise, babe.
Suggest us something anytime you want.
Little did she know. Often, Tanuki incorporate their testicles into their disguises. The Tanuki becoming a shopkeeper and its testicles transforming into the shop. Or perhaps a palanquin complete with servants to cart the Tanuki from place to place.
You know, it makes sense. I've gone into a mysterious pawn shop more than once and thought, really smells like balls in here.
It was a Tanuki. A famous nursery rhyme
This
about...
is rough.
This is great. A famous nursery rhyme about Tanuki testicles is learned by children everywhere in Japan. Walk with me here.
All right.
Tan Tanuki no kantima wa. Kazi mo nai no ni. Bura bura. This translates to Tan Tanuki's balls. Even when there is no wind, they swing, swing.
Do your balls hang low? Do they wobble to and throw? That's rough.
Dude.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
So little did we know. So they like to trick people into touching enchanted objects as well. not their enchanted balls, I don't think.
Touch it.
Like umbrellas or rice cakes.
To be fair, he earlier said he could use his balls to do an umbrella. So how are you going to trust the umbrella that he wants you to touch?
Oh boy, it's raining. I happen to have an umbrella. So, like umbrellas or rice cakes, which will cause the person to be transported into the distant wilderness. Just, oh my God.
When I take a bite out of a Clyde Dog bar, it makes me feel like I'm sitting on the top of an Andes mountain.
Day 53. No one has found me yet. Their favorite curses cause inconvenience, by forcing people to run around hills or chase after enchanted objects.
Yeah, they get you addicted to heroin. You're always following the white dragon. It's rough.
Oh, those little scamps. Tanuki are also...
I know, but also, all jokes aside, can you imagine like you're painting a fence, then your paintbrush just kind of floats away, or like you're trying to dip it into the can and it starts just wandering away? That's what I imagine. I think of like an anime where there's just like a floating paint can. You're like, damn it. I
Yeah.
need to finish whitewashing the fence. I
Like-
don't know why Tom Sawyer came in there.
I
But
don't know why, but like I had like Alice in Wonderland kind of like going on in my head there.
sure.
So Tanuki... sorry. You want to...
No, I was just gonna make a comparison that the Cheshire cat is kind of like maybe a little bit of a Tanuki there.
Yeah, the Cheshire cat.
Cheshire,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
because it can...
I like mine Cheshire.
Cheshire.
It's like a Pokemon.
It does sound like a Pokemon. Chimchar is a Pokemon. It's really close. Tanuki
Of course it is.
also often makes simple pranks on humans, such as pretending to talk to farmers in the dark, or making fishermen think their nets are full of fish, but the fishing nets are empty after they pull them up. They also often turn into local officials, go to houses, and play many weird tricks to prank the owner. Like, oh, this is not up to code.
Yeah,
Like,
that is mischievous.
it's like,
What was
oh,
going on in feudal Japan where they were just like, damn raccoons coming up acting like I need to mow my lawn, but you know what? My grass was fine. I know it wasn't the city. What's happening there?
dude, yeah, and like the neighbors are just like, what is Harold doing? It's like, dude, Mayor Mike came over. You didn't see him?
We don't have a mayor.
Oh.
He said he had a badge.
So,
Strangely smelled like balls.
strangely smelled like balls. That was odd. His car was strangely ball-shaped. Anyways, according to legend.
Oh, you remember the South Park episode where Randy got cancer and it was he was
Yes.
bouncing around on his own.
To the 8-bit music.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm imagining.
yeah. Yeah, I remember him with his balls in the microwave being like, oh, hey, Stan, can you grab me a beer? Stan?
Randy, quit trying to give yourself cancer. Just a little bit of cancer, Sharon.
Okay, guys, I'm feeling ridiculous. Can I get high now? Because he couldn't get his balls into the dispensary.
Anyways, that South Park episode is great. You guys should look it up.
You
Continue.
should. We will reference South Park endlessly on this show. So, according to legend, there are ways to determine if a person is a Tanuki based on the kimono they wear. Unfortunately, I couldn't find what kind of kimono they're talking about. So there's a certain kind of kimono.
Kimono?
Kimono? Thank you. Kimono that only they wear. Additionally, if someone walks in the rain and remains dry, they may be a Tanuki.
Oh.
Tanukis become unstable when they're distracted, which can lead to their tails being exposed. So maybe if you can like distract them when they're
Yeah,
in
they
their
said they had like a
disguise.
short little bunny tail type thing, right?
I didn't
That's
see,
that's what was said at the beginning. A
it
little
said it was
fluffy
really
tail.
fluffy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really fluffy tail.
So that's how you could get it to expose its tail. The jet.
The not getting wet in the rain is kind of an interesting thing. I'm reminded of they did the M. Night Shyamalan version of The Last Airbender, and at the very beginning of that movie, Katara has this water bubble that she drops on her brother, and when he stands up into frame, he supposedly just had water dropped on him, but he was completely dry.
That's sweet.
It was not. That movie was terrible.
Oh, see, I never saw that. Sorry. The Japanese raccoon is a real species, but its family tree is hotly debated by scientists. It is undoubtedly a close relative of the Asian raccoon, but many scientists believe it is a separate species. To complicate matters, the name Tanuki, which is usually attached to the folklore's magical raccoon, has a different meaning in some dialects. In some regions, Tanuki may refer to raccoons, badgers, or wildcats. So it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, furry mammal about the right size.
In the 1994 animated film Pompoko, a community of magical shape-shifting raccoon dogs struggle to prevent their forest home from being destroyed by urban development. The power of their bizarre magical testicles is well represented in this film.
Yeah, and if you'd like to see it, it's done by Studio Ghibli, and I'm pretty sure it's on HBO Max.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sweet. The Tanuki...
They have all the Studio Ghibli stuff. You know, that's the one who did Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of all the popular animes that you've seen people reference at Hot Topic, Ryan, when you were a kid,
Oh, there you
it
go.
was
Yeah.
all probably
That's
Studio
exactly
Ghibli.
how I'd know it.
I love Studio Ghibli, man. My favorite was Valley of the Wind, and it takes place in the post-apocalyptic world where I think basically a nuclear war made mutant bugs kind of take over the world.
Huh.
Yeah. Or Castle in the Sky, or Howl's Moving Castle, or Tales from Earthsea. Come on, Ryan.
I honestly, the other than Dragon Ball Z, and like other random animes that I don't know many.
Fair enough. There's some
So
good stuff out there.
yeah, yeah. And so the Tanuki has also found its place in pop culture as well in today's video games, appearing in popular games like Animal Crossing and, of course, the Super Mario series, in which we see our hero Mario grow a poofy raccoon tail, pointy raccoon ears, and gain the ability to fly. Sort
And
of, like he can like hover fly.
Yeah, he can fly hover thing. I think
Yeah.
it's really, really funny because you grew up and you're like, why is he have raccoon power?
I always wondered.
Everyone in Japan knew, and maybe not everyone, but a lot of people in the United States, a lot of kids were just like, I don't understand, but fine, Mario has raccoon. I get a leaf.
Evidently, raccoons can fly.
Fair enough.
Like,
yeah. I thought it was closer to like the flying squirrel than it was a raccoon, but it makes sense when you realize the history behind this all.
It does. It does. It's pretty cool. So while encountering a magical Tanuki is quite rare, spotting a real-life Tanuki is not uncommon. Similar to raccoons, they have begun to migrate to suburban and even urban areas, foraging for food in dumpsters or being fed by local residents. You might come across one of these little shapeshifters while strolling through a city or village at night or in the early morning hours. Just be cautious not to get tricked by them.
Well, they say that you're more likely to come across a real one than the magical one. But maybe they've just adapted not to wear the fucking hat.
Right. They just took the hat off.
And then there you go.
The Caminos they don't wear it. They got rid of it.
Guys,
They're
we're
like they
kind
caught
of
on.
we're advertising ourselves here, even when we transform into city officials to mess with Greg.
It's like, quickly, use your balls. Go.
Didn't you have like fake electric company show up to your apartment once and try and like trick you into like paying for something?
It was wild.
Tanuki.
Yeah. The tricksters.
They're those little rascals.
It was Tanuki.
Now it's fraud.
So that is how the Tanuki get along now. They're just those annoying people coming to apartment complexes. So beware of them and their balls. They are quite magical.
It reminds me of Waiting. Do you remember the movie Waiting?
Yes, sir.
Early 2000s comedy, and they had a game in the kitchen where they would make different shapes and to show their testicles to each other. It was this whole big thing. That movie wouldn't fly today.
I don't know if it would or not, but gosh darn it, I love Waiting. I haven't seen it in a long time, but that movie's a classic. Like,
there's this really crude woman who just swears up a storm in that film, and she ends up playing the mom in the new Ted show. She plays John Bennett's mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't make that connection, but man, she is such a gem in Waiting, that character. If you've ever worked in a restaurant, it was pretty close. Like, that movie Waiting was damn close to what it's kind of like working in a restaurant.
I'd like to tell you for health reasons he's wrong, but I've worked in some sad places.
Not the whole that scene, the tainting of the food. I'm just saying the characters that you run into when you work in a restaurant. It was pretty spot on. Tanuki. All right, so that brings us to the disclosure discussion section, and we're gonna go ahead and keep today in Japan for this one.
At least the first part.
Disclosure discussion. Ha 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 ha. It's about aliens and stuff.
Japan is the world's #1 hotspot for UFO sightings. This comes to us from popularmechanics.com. Japan is no stranger to reports of unidentified flying objects. Next year will mark the 50th anniversary of the country's most famous UFO sighting out of Kofu, the capital city of Yamanashi Prefecture, in which 2 boys claimed to have met a grounded alien following reports of flying saucers. A mini UFO that was supposedly captured by Kochi Prefecture in 1972 and multiple 1974 sightings in Hokkaido Prefecture, round out what enthusiasts see as Japan's classic Big Three incidents.
We're not going to get really more into the tiny mini UFO at this point, but I always like to think of that one like maybe it was an alien drone. Just
Maybe,
saying.
could have been. Throughout the 1970s, residents in and around the town of Lino, near Seganmori Mountain, began reporting frequent sightings that they credit to the region's spiritual and magnetic forces. The town's location in Fukushima Prefecture has continued to draw more UFO attention, especially over the last decade. In fact, a rash of recent UFO sightings in Japan have occurred around nuclear facilities.
That's such a common thing now. It seems like there's
Yeah.
always reports of UFOs over the nuclear facilities. What's scarier is the stories of the nuclear facilities being shut down, like system by system, one by one. There was one in the United States where they had an alien encounter where it seemed as though the aliens were shutting down the nuclear stuff.
So it's like, do you think that's them being like, stop that,
Stop it!
stop that?
Stop it! Gonna kill everybody.
Like, I don't know, because like they say, like nuclear energy, if done right and maintained yada yada without human error, is arguably okay. But I guess I don't know.
I heard a theory, and it wasn't even really a theory. It was just speculative. But they were saying that what if a nuke was so strong that it was hurting and affecting other dimensions?
I've heard that as well.
Yeah. So, if we're dealing with instead of extraterrestrials from outer space, it could be extraterrestrials from other dimensions.
Right. Which we have absolutely no idea what kind of effect, because we can't tell. We can't perceive it. So online forums and YouTube accounts are stacked with descriptions and videos of moving lights and clustered, unidentified anomalous phenomena in the skies over Fukushima following the nuclear disaster there in 2011.
A lot of reports of that.
Yes, that was where we kind of started jumping in on this, me and Joe talking about this incident. The U.S. Defense Department in 2022 established the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, to investigate UAP. And the following year launched a website to provide the public with declassified information about the mysterious objects. An AARO report designated the region stretching from Western Japan to China as a hotspot for UAP sightings based on the trends between 1996 and 2023.
Another reason why they might be around Japan is I know there's like a major fault line around there, and also the Devil's Triangle.
Mhm.
There's a lot going on in the seas around Japan, and so
And we've
as-
discussed portals before, so it could be like a portal area.
well, I'm really focusing on the Dragon Triangle because just like the Bermuda Triangle and other parts of the world, we're hearing more and more about UFOs coming in and out of the ocean. Like a big one was the famous Tic Tac in 2004, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't we talk about our second story, Ryan?
Good idea. Infamous Tic Tac UFOs are back. This comes to us from dailymail.com. 4 eerie UFOs have been caught on a U.S. naval camera emerging from the ocean and taking off in a synchronized flight off the coast of Southern California. The objects were recorded by stunned sailors who said they spotted the group of UFOs during the incident aboard the USS Jackson.
Yeah, and if they're stunned, you got to imagine it was quite a sight.
I mean, I would be. The newly obtained footage shows the moment 2 of the UFOs emerged from the ocean during the incident on February 15th, 2023. Their shape appeared strikingly similar to a 2004 sighting of a Tic Tac shaped UFO in the same waters, which was previously investigated by a top secret government program.
A lot of Tic Tacs. We had the one where they think they had a picture of a Tic Tac on Mars. We're talking about the
Yep.
one shaped like an egg in the ice cave that we've
That's
talked about.
right. Yeah.
And now more coming out of the ocean. So, it's a growing thing. Maybe if whatever race of aliens are visiting us, they've either adapted their technology or we're just getting a better look at it. Or maybe they're a whole new alien race altogether. Maybe the Greys are out. Like you said, these are the reptilians.
Maybe they're just starting to not care. Like, screw
Yeah.
it, let them see us. What can they do?
Their governments reported that aliens were real and no one seemed to care.
Like, at this point, it's like, well, then why am I using my cloaking device?
Yeah.
This thing drains all the battery.
They don't look up from their phones, guys. Just fly around. It's fine.
Right. That one Super Bowl commercial.
I think Martin Scorsese did that commercial.
I think so, yeah, where the aliens were screaming for us to look up and we were just looking down at our phones. So, the never-before-seen video was obtained by journalist George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, co-hosts of the Weaponized podcast, who revealed it to the public on Tuesday. Literally, this just happened. Knapp and co-host Jeremy Corbell spoke to a Navy personnel who said they watched as 4 tic-tac-shaped UFOs that emerged from the ocean in a military-controlled area known as Warning Area 291. Corbell noted that this is the same area of the Pacific where the other Navy sailors have reported seeing strange, unidentified craft over the years.
Yeah, so underwater alien base. I mean, that's the bottom line.
100%.
Whether we know about it and we're staying out of their way, or we know about it and we're working with them, that is an underwater alien base right there. And if it's not an extraterrestrial base, it is humans having far more technology than we're letting the world know. You know, like the 100, 200 years into the future kind of technology.
And that just seems like such a wild thing, but I mean, it would make sense to hide that no matter if you were terrestrial or extraterrestrial in the ocean.
I don't know, though, because if there was any one government that had that kind of technology, wouldn't they just take over the world?
I mean,
Just saying.
yeah, that's where it's scary, right?
So aliens.
And that's where the aliens are scared of us getting our hands on it, I think.
But it begs the question, if they are aliens, are they really benevolent, or is it just a matter of time? Like, why with that advanced technology, aren't they just wiping us out if that's what they would want to do? I'm not saying it is. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I guess there's just a bigger picture, right? Like, but who knows? I don't know.
Hmm.
So, by the way, that now infamous 2004 Tic Tac sighting was recorded by the USS Nimitz, in case you didn't know.
I remember that.
A Combat Information Center, CIC operator on board the Jackson who witnessed the incident spoke with the podcast, saying that seeing a UFO over the Pacific isn't really shocking for Navy personnel, but seeing a whole formation take off out of the water was jarring.
Johnson!
So that was jarring.
Johnson, what are you looking at? There's UFOs, sir.
So-
I don't care. Clean that deck.
It's
there's always UFOs, but there's like 4 of them.
Like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Now this is news.
I mean, underwater UFOs are not new. Christopher Columbus saw a UFO. I don't remember if it was taking out of the water or going into the water, but even he saw one from the ocean.
That's right. And there was another one we've mentioned on the podcast before. I forget the name of the ship, but it was heading in icy waters and a UFO came out of the water. Like, and this was a very serious dude, and he wrote about the incident matter-of-factly in his journal. Like,
Yeah,
you know-
well, you know what? You talked earlier about the I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Matter of factly in his journal. Do you have more to say on that?
No, that was it.
Well, I was just saying, you said earlier when you were talking about the reptilians about how they're underground and were basically the original inhabitants of Earth, and
Yeah.
then we kind of took Earth, even though we were hybrids made by alien DNA and monkey DNA. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
But all I'm saying is the idea of it being a terrestrial species. Like maybe this whole time we were wrong, and the reason why, we don't see like, oh no smart alien could get to us because this space between galaxies is too far away. Well, you're right. What if they are a fish person or a mole person
Yep.
or a lizard person from our own planet? It's kind of like Wakanda, where they just left themselves away from everyone else this whole time.
And I mean, in most sci-fi, when it comes to cultures like that, they always get down to humans are dangerous.
We do seem to be a violent sort, unfortunately.
Definitely. So he continues on with his description of seeing the 4 craft come out, all in synchronous, jetting into the abyss. All 4, all timed together, and all left. And we were like, holy shit. The anomalous CIC operator told the Weaponized podcast. That was a quote. He says, and he continues on. The second they left, maybe 3-4 seconds pass, I run to my station and I look at my radar. They're all off radar. That's it. They all zoomed off. The sailor continued. But it's clear that they were in communication with one another and synchronized like 3, 2, 1, countdown, let's all go. I think unless there's some level of like one entity controlling all 4 and then they all leave at the same time. Interesting. So he's like suggesting like a simulated kind of thing.
Well, they, to talk about pop culture a little bit, Ender's Game, where they were fighting their alien creature that were basically described as ants, and they were they were hive mind is the word.
Hive
So
mind, yeah.
yeah, and basically one queen ant would control an entire fleet. So it's not a new idea, and it is interesting.
And it happens in nature. So I'll just jump right back in here. It says after seeing the craft come out of the ocean, the crew of the Jackson captured the Tic Tacs on a specialized heat sensor called Sapphire. And I hope I'm saying that right. SA Fire, that could track their movements at night. Shockingly, none of the craft seen in the Sapphire images was producing any kind of heat trail as they were moving through the air, meaning they were using a totally unknown form of propulsion. And we've heard this description before. Corbell added that even if UFOs were just hovering over the Pacific, the Sapphire camera should have been able to see some kind of heat from an engine, but there was nothing.
I mean, that makes perfect sense because if it was a known propulsion system, then we would have crafts that could do that.
Right. And this goes along with like the old saying of just like an anti-gravity sort of generator, something along that line. Former Defense Department analyst Merrick von Rennenkampf analyzed flight data from the time and location of the sighting and concluded there were no U.S. aircraft in the area, so there's nothing else to blame. I don't think it's ours. This is a quote. I don't think it's ours. I suspect there are better places for us to showcase that kind of equipment to unwitting sailors. That just doesn't make sense. Von Rennenkampf said.
Yeah, so he's saying he doesn't think it was a show being put on for the guys.
Yeah, why would they? Yeah, that would be weird.
It would be weird unless it's for something like this. Like, what if they know it gets out, they know we'll talk about it, and what if it's all, hey, look over here, so you're not looking over here?
I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, what are they distracting them from other than like the 4 Tic Tacs that are synchronizedly? Gosh, that would blow my. That's what I want to see.
We got the truth twitch, man. There's too much going on.
I want to see it so bad, Joe. Like how bad?
Tic Tac coming out of the water?
No,
you gotta go to the ocean.
I want to see. Well, yeah, that. But I also just seeing a UFO. Just do. There are so many times when I've seen something, I'm like, what the heck is that? And I'm just like, do it. Like, do it. Like, take off.
UFO.
Like, move.
Be
like,
a UFO.
You know what I mean? Like, I think about it all the time.
And it changes trajectory, and it's like, oh, you see the blinking light.
Yeah,
damn it, it's a
plane.
Like,
it's a plane. Like, yeah, no, it's torture because I want to see it so bad, and that's why I try to go at a lot of these reports with an open mind because I know that about myself. I know that I want it so bad, but I truly believe, that's all these
good.
stories, you know?
But wanting it and making you a skeptic is a good thing because you can't just believe what you see.
Yeah.
You have to know a little bit of information because there was a great example of my wife. She grew up in Oxnard, California, and when we went there to visit her dad, near there's a base, an Army base, a Navy base. I'm not sure what kind of base, but they were doing a missile launch. And in the air, we see this light. You hear a sonic boom. Later, you see it moving across the sky. And if I had no clue that was going on, I could see myself looking up there and just being like, "Oh, it's a UFO." That's why if you think you've seen something, you got to do that little bit of extra work and just go online and see if there was a missile test or a weird, SpaceX launch or something. And if there's not, great, cool. And that's why this is a crazy, credible report because they're saying that there was nothing else in the skies at the time.
And it was recorded by this whatever fire camera that they've got. So they've got some kind of camera that should have been able to detect safe fire, but it saw nothing. But it definitely caught it. And I did get to watch the video. If you want to watch the video, I know that Jeremy Corbell shared it on his Instagram account. You can just find him there. We've covered Jeremy Corbell before. I think he does good work. It's always interesting to hear a new story, and I really just wanted to make sure that we could share this with you guys.
And with that, let's take it back down to Earth, shall we?
Okay.
So let's talk about something that is terrestrial, yet strange, a bit weird, if you will, on this week's
Real World Weird.
Florida curio shop owner charged with selling human bones.
Huh?
This comes to us from coasttocoastam.com. Florida authorities have charged a curio shop owner for allegedly selling an array of human bones at her store. According to a local media report, the creepy case began in late 2023 when cops in the community of Orange City learned of some rather unusual items offered online by local business Wicked Wonderland. Cool name. Specifically, police say the curio shop was advertising various human bones, including skull fragments, vertebrae, and a rib that could be purchased through their website. How convenient. When an officer visited the store to investigate, one of the co-owners indicated that they had long sold such macabre pieces with the belief that such a practice did not violate any state laws. Unfortunately for them, it would appear they were misinformed. An affidavit for the case noted that the shop owner told police that the bones were all purchased from private sellers and that they were genuine human remains.
That's right.
100% human. Num num num. Cops seized the contraband items for testing, and in a later meeting with authorities, the owners asserted that the materials were outside the purview of the law because they were educational models. A subsequent forensic examination of the bones by experts contradicted that claim, as it was found that all but the vertebrae were indeed centuries-old human remains that had likely been unearthed by archaeologists. As a result, authorities charged the curio shop's primary owner, Kimberly Chopper, with the gruesome-sounding crime of trading in human tissue last week.
I think her name is Kimberly. I just think it's spelt with a Y.
Yeah, it was just spelt really, really weird. Kimberly.
You know what, though? It's not illegal to buy that in every state because there's a show, I think it was History Channel, that I actually watched because I really liked it. It was called Oddities, and it was about this shop
I remember.
that had oddities. Yeah, and they had exploded skulls and other things like that. And that was legal wherever that shop was. I'd be guessing to where. So this is just a Florida thing.
I was going to say it's a state thing.
It's kind of surprising with all the shit you can do in Florida that selling human remains isn't one of them.
Honestly, it kind of tracks. When I went to Florida, I went to St. Augustine, and they say that's like one of the first towns in America ever, the first roads, and they say a lot of the amputations happen there. So underneath all the roads are just buried probably human limbs everywhere. So I believe that's probably why they made it a law, because they literally said that because there were so many amputations happening back then.
Why were there so many amputations happening, and why did they bury it under the road?
It had something to do with, I was young when I went, but it had something to do with St. Augustine just being an old town. There was a lot of war, a lot of battles that happened. And
I would call bullshit, but I mean, that's kind of like the whole catacombs under Paris are full of bones, but that was because of a plague. So
to be fair, they also had a ghost tour of the town because that St. Augustine's really old and
you were
supposedly haunted. And I was young,
you were a kid.
So it was impressionable.
What if you're like mixing it up and there's like that's the urban legend, that's the spooky tale.
It could be. It could be. I also went to Ripley's museum there, which was awesome.
Okay, well, I think you need to look it up because if there is a road with a bunch of just buried limbs underneath it,
I will look it up.
I want to hear about that.
I will.
Yeah,
We'll put it on Real World Weird for next week because if I can find it,
if you can
that
find
is pretty
it, do
weird.
it.
That is pretty weird.
That is weird. Sometimes things are weird, Ryan.
Sometimes things are weird, Joe.
Coming June 7th, 2025, it's the third annual Cryptids and Paranormal Conference held at Our House, with guest speakers Ronnie LeBlanc, Expedition Bigfoot, paranormal researcher Lyle Blackburn, ghost hunter Ron Iacovetti, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and from Phantoms and Monsters, Lon Strickler. That's June 7th, 2025, Our House, located at 420 Adelphia Road, Farmingdale, New Jersey. Tickets are $45, available at Eventbrite. We will see you there.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report.
1. The Last of Us has been renewed for Season 3 at HBO.
2. The Devil May Cry anime series has been renewed for Season 2 at Netflix.
This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report.
Ooh.
Calling all comic fans, it's time to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics, where the freshest new issues, graphic novels, and manga hit the shelves every week. Whether you're looking for the hottest new series or the latest small press sensation, we've got it all. Every genre for every age, Green Brain Comics is your one-stop shop for all things graphic storytelling. Got questions? Our friendly staff knows their stuff. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the world of comics, we've got recommendations that'll keep you coming back for more. And don't forget to check out our special events. Green Brain Comics is not just a store, it's a community. Located in East Downtown Dearborn, we are at Green Brain Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Shop online at greenbraincomics.com, and remember to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics.
It's true, you made it through to the second half of the show.
And like always, that annoying little voice has ushered us into the second part of the show.
Music mumbles.
Green Day, pyrotechnics explosion at Coachella nearly ends in disaster. This comes to us from digitalmusicnews.com. During Green Day's set at Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival the first weekend on Saturday, just a couple days ago, a firework lit a palm tree on fire in the nearby artist section. The fire was dangerously close to a crowd of onlookers. So just boom.
I'm just saying, L.A., Los Angeles area. No, Coachella's in the it's far away, but it's just we had enough fires for that area, man. Don't set things on fire.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that part.
Yeah. Don't burn more things. We have enough fire.
Welcome to paradise. This is a quote. This firework just flew into the crowd and exploded right next to Fazé Banks and all of his friends, causing trees and more to catch on fire at Coachella, wrote Ryan at Scuba Ryan on X.
Wait, who the hell is Fozzie Banks?
I just assumed that since he mentioned a dude's name, then it must be an artist.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just my guess.
Or an influencer or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Gaming Clan. There it is. It says right here. Gaming Clan Fazé founder Banks also posted a video on the social media platform showing his friend sitting in a chair and being checked out by paramedics. He says, quote, Zach was literally on the tree that exploded. The most nuts shit, end quote.
I hope him and his friends are all right. That's intense, man.
It said that he was, from what I read, the comment on the image said he was okay. Green Day's performance marked their debut at the annual festival, especially as the headlining act. In 2014, frontman Billy Joe Armstrong performed as a guest with the Replacements. This past weekend, he also joined the Go-Go's to perform their 1984 classic, Head Over Heels.
I just think of like who wants to be responsible for one of those crazy wildfires going off? Because I'm glad they put it out and everything's fine, right? But the gender reveal thing, that was the most like can you imagine you grew up, you're like 10, 15 years old, be like, yeah, you know that fire a few years ago that like killed the koala bears, all of them? That was how they knew I was a boy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and like, yeah, you're right. Like there's a lot of bad memories with fires and for this to happen again, another fire, you literally exploded a palm tree.
Yeah.
For your pyrotechnic show.
So I quit smoking cigarettes a few years ago when my wife got pregnant with our first son, but because I smoked for so long, I will never tell someone not to smoke. I'll never bitch at someone for smoking by me. I'll just walk away. I'm an advocate for smoking.
Yeah,
however,
that's how you do it.
In the one part of the country where dropping a lit cigarette can burn down the entire town, I get people vaping.
I get it as I vape right now. And actually, we have a bonus Music Mumbles here, which is also kind of spacey.
Ooh,
so it fits.
On topic.
So yeah, it's on topic. The Blue Origin crew safely back on Earth after all-female spaceflight. This comes to us from BBC.com. Pop star Katy Perry and 5 other women safely returned to Earth after reaching space aboard the Blue Origin rocket. The singer was joined by Lauren Sanchez and CBS presenter Gayle King, who said a highlight of the flight was hearing Perry sing Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. After landing back on Earth, Perry said she felt super connected to life and so connected to love. The flight lasted around 11 minutes and took the 6 women more than 100 kilometers above Earth, crossing the internationally recognized boundary of space and giving them a few moments of weightlessness. I would love that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know, being weightless in a plane would be good, but it feels like they didn't really get to outer space, but they did. I guess they crossed that threshold. I understand, but I just a few moments of weightlessness, so just they went up and down. They didn't really go into space. They went into like the upper atmosphere.
That's kind of like what they've all been doing, right? Like
I know.
Yeah, like they did that with William Shatner.
I'm just really, really into the sci-fi aspect of life where we're like out there in the galaxy walking in these great big spaceships where they have mess halls. And the reality is, nope, you're in a tiny box with a window about the size of a, DVD.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And that's why I wouldn't want to do real space travel personally. So I guess I don't blame Katy Perry, because why would you want to be up there longer than 11 minutes?
And I love you, Joe, but you're kind of scared of just airplanes. I couldn't imagine you on a rocket. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I think you'd have a heart attack.
Fair enough.
So, also on board were former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, civil rights activist Amanda Nguyen, I don't know how to pronounce this, Nguyen, and film producer Carrie Flynn. The new Shepard rocket lifted off from its West Texas launch site just after 8:30 local time. The capsule returned to Earth with a parachute-assisted soft landing, while the rocket booster also landed back in Texas. Cheering could be heard from inside the capsule as the recovery crew went to collect them.
Oh, that's wonderful. But yeah, of course there was cheering. Most of these people aren't astronauts, so you'd have to be a little bit like, that was amazing, but also, I'm not dead. I'm still alive. Yay! Like Ryan said, I'm not a good flyer, so.
Well, the one you'd be right along with her. She got out of there and she kissed the dirt. Yeah. She got down and she kissed. I forget who did it, but one of them did.
I'm not trying to throw shade on Katy Perry at all, but doesn't it feel like such like a, I don't know, kind of like a, can you imagine you're up there in space, you're looking outside the window, you're like, wow, it's real. And then Katy Perry just starts singing this song, but like, ugh, you gotta ruin the moment. I mean, was she asked to do that?
It's like the people who sing on a flight or like bust out the ukuleles on a train. It's like, no!
I mean, maybe that was why she was there, right? Like maybe she understood the assignment, I don't know.
Yep.
I just can imagine just being like, I'm in awe, just looking at the majesty of our planet, and then just like, I'm on a jet plane. No.
Shut up,
Shut up, God damn it. I know that's not the song. But.
I see trees of green. Sail blue too. I see them blue.
Oh man, can you imagine? It would actually be worth it if she did it like a really deep raspy
straight
voice.
Up that deep, yeah.
Like she felt like an old soul man.
Straight up Satchmo.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What a wonderful world.
Hell yeah.
I take it back. I want to be there with Katy Perry singing it, but she has to sing it like that.
And that, my friends, is what you call a successful Music Mumbles section of the podcast today.
Well, I'm glad none of those women died.
That's a good thing.
Now find out who did. Is that bad? Is that too much?
No, not at all. That was great. That was perfect.
Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 actor Nicky Katt dies at 54. This comes to us from usatoday.com. Nicky Katt, a prolific character actor who starred on Boston Public and made frequent supporting appearances in many other shows and films, has died, according to reports. He was 54. Katt's attorney, John Sloss, confirmed news of his death to The Hollywood Reporter and Variety. A cause was not provided. Katt starred as geology teacher Harry Sennett on Boston Public, the drama series set in a Boston Public high school, for 3 seasons. The actor was a regular presence on the big and small screen, usually as supporting characters. He went on to portray bully Clint Bruno in Dazed and Confused. Christopher Nolan also used Katt in 2 of his movies. The actor played a detective in Insomnia and a member of a SWAT team in The Dark Knight. Of course, genre and sci-fi fans will immediately recognize his voice as Atton Rand in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 video game. Nicky Katt, you will be missed. Pure Pazak.
Ooh, I know this one hit you.
It hit me hard because he was literally the main character. He was the pilot. You meet him early on. And what was cool, I have a fun little fact. It came out, I believe, for Xbox. I don't even think this was 360. And when you played it and you first met him, if you dialogued with him just a certain way in the beginning, being like, why are you really here? He breaks the fourth wall. He's like, Blame my agent. I was supposed to be a character for a spin-off of Jedi Academy, but that never happened. And last second short, here I am. So literally they add him to the game, and he's such a cool character because if you really dive, especially if you become dark side, you really dive into his character, and you find out that during these Mandalorian wars and stuff on Malachor, he has a power where he's almost like a Jedi. He kind of is Jedi-like, and you can give him the Force if you go down the dark side because he can play Pazak, which is a card game, in his head, and it keeps the Jedi out. So no matter what, if the Jedi are trying to read his mind, he's just, okay, if they play an 8, I can play this, and I can play this.
Yeah,
So,
like he's going through and he's playing the card game in his head as like a blocker, like they can't see past it.
and then he can sneak up on them and kill them in their sleep. That's literally what he did.
That is awesome.
Dude, he was a dark character in that game, but he was really deep, and the voice acting was impeccable. I can hear it right now. I'm just pure Pazak.
You know what's cool is in the mid 90s they had a movie called The Village of the Damned, and Christopher Reeves played a school teacher, and that movie has alien human hybrids that have telekinetic abilities that they use to attack people, and he knew that if he cleared his mind, if he just thought of a brick wall, that they would not be able to see past it. So he kept just imagining a brick wall, and spoilers for the remake of Village of the Damned that came out 30 years ago. But that's how he tricks them all from not knowing that there's a bomb that's about to kill them all. He thinks of the brick wall until they're trying to tear it down. And when they finally break through, they see the bomb, but it's too late. Boom, all of them die. And that's exactly what that character reminds me of while he's playing Sabak. It makes sense that a card game would be able to block the Jedi because you'd constantly be focusing on strategy, maybe chess in our world.
No, and I did want to point out, like you said, Sabak. I believe that was a later version of Pazak, because Pazak takes place thousands of years before Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Oh, so excuse
It's
me. I have my
Pazak.
Star Wars card games mixed up.
Yep, it's spelled almost the same way, just with Pazak instead of Sabak. But Sabak is the new one. Like, if you go to Disneyland right now or Disney World, go to Galaxy's Edge, you can play Sabak with people there. They have cast members that'll play Sabak with you in character. It's awesome.
It's like regular poker or Texas Hold'em.
It's sort of, yeah. It's kind of like
It's a variation of the
blackjack.
same game, or is it a different game altogether?
I know Pazak was more like blackjack. Sabak, I think they made it a little bit more involved. I don't remember, but I did play like a round or two. I lost.
Well, clearly you didn't know how to play the game.
I did not know how to play the game. There were a lot of kids around, and I figured that my 37-year-old butt should probably just let them have the fun.
I know you could play Sabak in the game that I've been playing, the new Star Wars game. Oh God, I forget what it was called. See, I haven't been playing very much.
Smugglers.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I haven't gotten too much into it, but I like the card games in games. I always think they're fun.
Me too.
Like Final Fantasy always does that. The new Final Fantasy VII has a great card game in it. But anyways, back to this gentleman. I'm glad that you're so aware of his work. That's why he'll always be remembered, especially in a video game, because argument can be made that a video game might last longer than a movie.
I agree, because there is something about it, and all the different conversations you have with Atton Rand. He's a character you get right off the bat, and he's with you all the way to the end through every plot change. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've heard him say so much. That's what they say when you go into voice act for a video game. There's a lot to do. You have to be like, ugh,
Yeah,
look to your left, look to your right. Like,
especially a video game, because you have different dialogue options. A movie, you do the script, but a video game, you could do like 10 scripts.
yeah. No, it's amazing, and he did a killer job. And how unfortunate, 54 years old, Nicky Cat, I salute you. Thank you for your work in one of my favorite games of all time.
We tip our hat to you, sir.
Okay, so that brings us to the headlines section of the show.
Earthling Entertainment headlines.
A UK version of Saturday Night Live is coming in 2026. This comes to us from Nerdist.com. For 5 decades, Saturday Night Live has ruled late night television with countless sketches and memorable moments, and it is showing no signs of slowing down or going off the air anytime soon. So it's only right that the show is getting a fresh international version to keep this franchise going. Deadline reports that Saturday Night Live, aka SNL, will get a UK version with Lorne Michaels as its executive producer.
They're on season 50 this year of SNL.
Crazy.
It is. The 50th anniversary special was amazing. Oh, so good. They brought back so many people from over the years. I can't tell you how much I loved it. And I think it's about time we had a UK version. I mean, we're constantly stealing their shows and turning them into American shows. We took The Office, we took Ghosts. It's about time they stole a show back from us, damn it.
And I mean, I know that it was a different kind of sketch comedy in a way, but Monty Python Flying Circus, I felt like had to be a huge influence for some of these kind of shows, like some of these kind of sketch shows.
Well, sketch shows have always been huge, but I will argue that Monty Python isn't on season 50.
Right, that's true. So the news about a potential UK version of SNL came out back in 2022. Since then, it has mostly been silent with negotiations and such happening in the background. This new version of the famous sketch comedy series will air on Sky starting sometime in 2026. It will have the same format as the US show. There's no word on who will star in it, but surely that information will come out later this year.
I'm excited because I would love to watch more SNL, and I like British TV. And I think it's really funny, though, because I'm not going to understand because SNL is a lot of political stuff, a lot of political humor. So I won't know any of the UK political humor, but I feel like I will. I'll be able to enjoy the other stuff.
Making fun of the king, like the way that we make fun of our
Parliament,
presidents,
everything. Yeah, I mean, I imagine so. Whatever goofy thing that they feel as though is happening in their government, this is the time to satire it.
No, that's funny. And I've watched some British sitcoms and stuff, and you're right. Half the stuff they're talking about, I can't understand, like because they have slang and stuff like that I just don't understand.
Fair enough. Well, you could say the same thing when you're listening to something that's really deep south or country. Occasionally, there's just I just can't follow.
No, yep. Cecil Fratt-Kutaz, the CEO of Sky Studios and Chief Content Officer for Sky, said for over 50 years, Saturday Night Live has held a unique position in TV and in our collective culture, reflecting and creating the global conversation, all under the masterful comedic guidance of Lorne Michaels. The show has discovered and nurtured countless comedy and musical talents over the years, and we are thrilled to be partnering with Lorne and the SNL team to bring an all-British version of the show to UK audiences next year, all live from London on Saturday night.
Is that the name? I kind of like it, all live. Yeah.
Live from London.
Live from London on Saturday night.
I don't know. That's what he said. It was a quote.
I mean, it's better than Saturday Night Live UK. I don't know. I dig it. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I could already see it. All live from London on Saturday night.
Ah! Yeah, because it's Saturday night on Saturday night. Yeah. I think it's a winner. They workshopped that, Ryan.
Yeah, it works great. Like I had to do it. It rolled right off the tongue. In the meantime, we will keep the good times rolling on this side of the pond as SNL continues to delight.
And for the most part, I find it delightful.
I do too. Keenan is the man.
Keenan is the man. He is the longest running cast member ever out of anybody.
Yeah, it's wild. And it's so funny to us because we grew up seeing him in All That, which was like the kid version
it was the
SNL.
Child's version of SNL. Exactly. Super dude.
Right. Yeah, the prepare man. Sorry. Oh yeah, that was Kel who did Repairman. But
he wasn't Pepe Le Pew, but he played
where he was in a tub and he's like, in a tub. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
He would say silly words.
Silly things that sounded French but weren't.
No, it was French. It would just be like, "Get your hands off of my mustard." Ha, ha, ha.
Oh yeah, no, he would say something in French, and then when he translated it to English, it was stupid.
It was stupid,
but kids laughed.
I know I laughed when they just added chocolate. The cooking show where just everything was chocolate.
Oh yeah, he would add chocolate to everything. They'd had Chris Farley showed up for an episode, and it was all ketchup.
Yes.
And they had like a battle where they were squirting ketchup and chocolate on each other.
I do remember that. Like made my life when that happened.
But it connects SNL. Think about it.
Yep.
You are Kenan Thompson. You get to see and work with Chris Farley, and then later down the line, you get to be the funny guy. Oh, that's fun. That's
absolutely.
Good.
And then of course one of my other favorites. Oh well, close enough. where people would just like jump out the window, just randomly. They always, I don't know.
This is another All That sketch, I imagine.
Yeah, Keenan.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, that's awesome. I'll bet you UK is gonna probably be. I'll probably watch that more than American Saturday Night Live because honestly, I only see like a couple sketches here and there. I don't remember the last time I sat and watched a whole episode of SNL. I can't even tell you.
Honestly, me and my wife watch every episode.
Really?
Yeah, we really do. I don't know if we're getting older, but like we find it funny. We stay up late, watch it on the telly.
Well, I know that there's still so many classics. Like they still hit the nail on the head. I love it.
Well, speaking of classics, they're doing a reboot of one of my really favorite cheesy, I want to underline cheesy slasher flicks from the 80s. And that's actually our headline number 2. We got an update.
Silent Night, Deadly Night reboot has found its psycho slasher Billy. This comes to us from bloodydisgusting.com. The naughty will be punished in Cineverse and Bloody Disgusting's upcoming Silent Night, Deadly Night, a brand new version for the fan favorite slasher franchise from the 1980s. Rohan Campbell, who memorably played Corey Cunningham in David Gordon Green's Halloween Ends, has been cast in the iconic role of Billy Chapman for the upcoming Silent Night, Deadly Night reboot. In addition to Halloween Ends, Rohan Campbell also starred in Osgood Perkins' The Monkey earlier this year, which was amazing.
You said you liked The Monkey,
It was
right?
amazing. The first 20 minutes are rough, and then it becomes one of the best films you've ever seen. I'm not kidding.
Well, a lot of people didn't like Halloween Ends, but I thought he was really good in it. He was kind of like the character who's like, I'm the killer now, almost like a passing of the torch. In a way, Silent Night, Deadly Night could be, almost like a sequel to that Halloween Ends.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
More tie-ins here, more tying in.
My God, then he has Halloween in December. It actually lines up perfectly. I got to rewatch Halloween Ends to make sure he didn't die. I'm sure he died, but still.
I could just see Michael Myers with like a Santa hat now. They're just going to completely mix the two.
Moving on. Dun, 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 dun.
With the young actors, genre credits including Snowpiercer, iZombie, and Supernatural. Campbell steps into a role previously played by Robert Brian Wilson in the original Silent Night, Deadly Night, who donned the bloody Santa suit back in the 1980s. A reimagining of director Charles E. Sellier Jr.'s original 1984 slasher classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night, centers on a young boy who witnesses the murder of his parents at the hands of a man dressed as Santa, only to grow up and become a killer himself. Haunted by trauma and fueled by a twisted sense of justice, he puts on the Santa suit and punishes the naughty. Silent Night, Deadly Night will be slashing into theaters this holiday season.
And holiday horrors have always been a thing. Black Christmas was considered one of the first slasher flicks. I really liked, they had an early 2000s remake called Black Xmas. That one had Michelle Trachtenberg in it. Yeah, that one was good. That one you can't find. It's not really streaming anywhere. What was your favorite Christmas horror film?
I mean, my mind immediately goes to Krampus.
Of course.
But there's an episode of Tales from the Crypt that I think of where it was like a psycho deranged guy in a Santa suit, and the parents are freaking out, and at the end of the episode they hear like the door open. They're like, oh, thank goodness that guy got caught. And he's like, look, mommy, daddy, it's Santa. And they're like, ah,
because he brought him into the house.
Yep. And that was like the end of the episode. Like, well, kiddies, like
looks like little Billy fucked up for the last time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's where mine head actually first went to. I just didn't know if I could bring it up because I can't think of the episode name. I can't think of the actors in it. I just know it was a Tales from the Crypt that was very similar kind of to Silent Night, Deadly Night, kind of just a psycho killer in a Santa suit.
Sure. Well, they made a bunch of them, and then there was a lot of, I would say, similar films. There was Christmas Evil instead of Christmas Eve. I thought that was kind of funny.
Okay.
But you know me, dude. I love slasher films. I do. I have a whole section of, Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. And this one it's not well represented. I would say I would love to see a remake of this. I don't think it needs to be a remake. I think it could totally be a sequel that takes place years later. But, I get it. No one's clamoring for a sequel. You might as well make it a remake. I understand.
I'm here for it. And does Gremlins count? That was another one I thought of.
Gremlins does count. They're also thinking about doing a Gremlins 3. They're thinking about doing a lot of sequels that we never thought would happen. That's actually our third headline, is a sequel that a few years ago may have seemed preposterous, but just might be coming up.
Beetlejuice 3 might be summoned at Warner Brothers, according to studio heads.
Headline number 3.
This comes to us from Collider.com. After the surprise box office success of Beetlejuice, Warner Brothers Pictures might just say the name a third time.
Which, of course, what would have to be called? Beetlejuice.
Oh, there he is.
Michael Keaton!
Yeah, Michael Keaton, get
Get out of the studio, Michael
no,
Keaton!
No.
Yeah! Every time.
In an exclusive interview with Deadline, studio co-chairs and CEOs Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi revealed that a third installment in Tim Burton's iconic spooky franchise is already inching its way toward reality. The duo confirmed that they are eminently developing sequels to both Beetlejuice, and a Minecraft movie, which became two of their most unexpected and lucrative blockbusters. The ink might not be dry on the deals yet, DeLuca said, but eminently suggesting both films are quickly becoming top priority franchise plays for the studio. That would be big news on its own, but it comes in the context of Beetlejuice massively overperforming expectations. The long gestating sequel reunited original cast members Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara, while bringing in new blood like Jenna Ortega and Justin Theroux. Given how much fans love the movie, critics love the movie, and studios love the movie, this shouldn't come as too much of a shock. To be clear, Beetlejuice 3 hasn't been officially summoned yet, but the afterlife is looking pretty lively at Warner Brothers because money.
Yeah, that's the bottom line is they're like, look, we haven't talked about any creative stuff. We haven't hired Tim Burton. We haven't made sure Michael Keaton wants to do it. They haven't done none of that. They just simply said, yeah, we made a lot of money with that one, so we should make a third one. So this is so early on. It'll probably happen. But remember, they wanted to make a sequel to Beetlejuice for a long time. Kevin Smith famously talks about how he was offered to write Beetlejuice in the mid-90s, and they were going to make that sequel called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. So,
wow.
Yeah. But then again, if you want to do a Beetlejuice sequel and not make it like a, direct to, back in the day, it would be a direct to streaming or DVD sequel.
Right.
Like Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, God.
Which was a thing.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen. What do you think?
I honestly think that when it comes to Beetlejuice 3, it will happen, especially as far as the actors won't be a problem. Because I know Michael Keaton has spoken about how much he loved doing the sequel. He couldn't shut up about it. Winona Ryder had it in her contract for Stranger Things that if Beetlejuice was to begin filming, that she would be able to leave.
No matter what
to go film
might be
it.
part of the reason why Stranger Things Season 5 took so long. One of the many reasons. I think you have to get Winona Ryder and Jenna Ortega back, for sure, and Michael Keaton.
I don't see the problem with the older ones. I think they would be dying to do it again. I don't know anything about how she would feel, Jenna Ortega or Theroux, but I assume that, since it did so well, and who wouldn't want to continue this awesome franchise if you're doing it right, which I think they are.
There's something about the aesthetic that Tim Burton has created in his, the art, the twisted kind of like, it's spooky, but it's really, I don't know, beautiful in its own way.
It is.
And it can't be replicated. And when he made that sequel, I was wondering if it would have the same feel. And while it wasn't 100% what I wanted it to be, I did feel like it was a Beetlejuice sequel. It felt worthy. It felt like a journey back into that world, and I would gladly take another. A third ride into that, version of the underworld.
I agree. How cool would it be if we could get Danny DeVito to do one more cameo as the disgusting janitor?
You know what? All we do is start it out where Monica Bellucci, the character of Beetlejuice's ex-wife, just walks up and just blows him back up like a balloon. Yeah. And then suddenly we have Danny DeVito back. There you go.
Right.
Solved it, Ryan. It's not like you would have to do like a real big stunt.
No. And they need to have like a little effigy in the back of the office to Bob.
Oh, Bob. I want like a Paramount. No, what is it? It's Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
So that would be Max. That would be HBO Max. I want an HBO Max series of Bob. Just a whole series of Bob. They did it. Paramount Plus did it in between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. They had a 6-episode Knuckles show.
Yeah.
So I want like a 6-episode Bob show that takes place between Beetlejuice 2 and 3, and it's just Bob's journey to whatever comes next. Which,
and it'll just be Bob, shrunken head, won't say anything the whole time, So everyone will just have serious, in-depth conversations with Bob. And they'll just be like, my gosh, Bob, you got it. And he'll just be kind of staring at you.
Ooh. Or how about this for an idea? What if Bob's afterlife, his afterlife, if you will, is just some kind of ridiculous death race, and we can get Bob on a motorcycle jumping the Grand Canyon? Just a ridiculous stunt. You know what? A stunt so good it could win an Oscar. Maybe. I'm just saying, because did you know that our headline number 4 is all about how now stunts are gonna be an Oscar contender? It's crazy. We finally did it, guys.
Oscars to finally add Best Stunt Design Award. This comes to us from IGN.com. After a century of being sidelined, a long-awaited stunt design category is finally being added to the Oscars. The Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has confirmed that an Academy Award for Achievement in Stunt Design will officially begin being awarded from the 2028 Oscars. The news comes via the Academy's social media, where the announcement was accompanied by images of 2022's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and Triple R.
It's called RRR. It
Thank
actually
you.
is called RRR.
And 2011's Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Unfortunately for that trio of films, the first movies eligible for this new award will be those released during 2027. The 2028 Oscars will mark the 100th Academy Awards. Since the early days of cinema, stunt design has been an integral part of filmmaking, said Academy CEO Bill Kramer and Academy President Janet Yang in a joint statement published in conjunction with this announcement. We are proud to honor the innovative work of these technical and creative artists, and we congratulate them for their commitment and dedication in reaching this momentous occasion. Further specifics and the new category's rules will be communicated in 2027.
Do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree. 100%.
That they should have the awards?
Yeah, definitely, because that takes a lot of work, and like people get like seriously hurt. You know, some people like get killed. You know what I mean?
Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe stuntman, there's a whole documentary about how he broke his neck and has been in a wheelchair ever since.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, I do have a few thoughts, which is just the problem with stunts is a lot of times when you watch a movie, it is seamless between what the special effect is and what the stunt is for most people. So if someone jumps out of a plane, it could be Tom Cruise actually jumping out of a plane, or it could be a lot of CGI in addition to someone jumping out of like a much lower plane or, you know, platform. So the stunt category is going to be hard for just the average, you know, person to vote on unless they come up with a little video. So let's say each time someone has a stunt up for this award, they give all the Academy voters a 5-minute video of just like, this is why this stunt should do it. It will show you the background and how it's done. And that's the only way it could really make sense to me.
Because there's so much to it.
Yeah, but also because what some people would consider a stunt might simply be CGI. You know, like for the average person who's not a stuntman to understand why is this a great stunt versus this is a great stunt. Well, that one looks 100 times better on camera, but it's 40% fake. Whereas this one is just a guy jumping with a motorcycle, but it's 100% real. You know, like which one do you vote for?
Right. Like I'm reminded of in Empire Strikes Back when Luke gets sucked out of the window. That's a stuntman. And I heard Mark Hamill talking about a scene with him, and you know he was a great guy, and he's like, man, and I just watched him do this backflip out of the window, and I'm just like, I could never do that. Like,
I mean, some people do their own stunts, but it's not a normal thing,
right? And that's why I agree with the category, and I think that it's well deserved, and I do think that it's been long awaited because yeah, there's a lot of great stunt people out there. They do a great job, and that we would only have CGI scenes and stunts if it weren't for these people, you know.
Well, you know, they've been trying to make this a category since 1992. They've been trying to do it. And it was like from 1992 to like 2002 or 2012, something like that. They had every year it submitted to be a new category and it never passed. And then just recently, obviously, they just passed it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm glad. So congratulations to all the stunt people out there.
Oh, 100%. I guarantee if like they had this award back when the Lord of the Rings trilogy was made, I'm sure some of those stuntmen would win because there were so many stuntmen in that.
I imagine there was. I mean, hey, Good for
And
you
women.
guys.
So
Yeah,
men and women.
excellent. Let's go to our final headline, which is unfortunately a little bit more of a somber one. I love this show. Before we jump in, I think it is a fantastic Apple TV show, and I am sad to see it go. Ryan, jump into headline number 5.
Mythic Quest to end after 4 seasons. Apple TV Plus to air updated finale episode with new ending. This comes to us from Variety.com. The Apple TV Plus comedy Mythic Quest is done after 4 seasons. The single cam workplace comedy followed the staff of a video game studio that produced the titular game, a massively popular MMORPG series. Co-creator McLenny also starred in the show as Ian Grimm.
Excuse me. McElhenney.
Thank you.
Yes, he's the one who he owns Wrexham, the soccer team with Ryan Reynolds. And he's from It's Always Sunny. Rob McElhenney.
Series co-creator McElhenney also starred in the show as Ian Grimm, the creator and creative director of Mythic Quest. The series aired its 4th season finale on March 26th, following its January debut. It had been renewed for seasons 3 and 4 back in 2021, and for a moment it appeared that that's all we were getting. Instead, we can all rejoice because an updated finale episode with a new ending will premiere next week on Apple TV Plus. Endings are hard, says this quote, but after 4 incredible seasons, Mythic Quest is coming to a close, said series executive producers Megan Gans, David Hornsby, and Rob McElhenney. We're so proud of the show and the world we got to build, and deeply grateful to every cast and crew member who poured their heart into it. To all our fans, thank you for playing with us. To our partners at Apple, thank you for believing in the vision from the very beginning. Because endings are hard, with Apple's blessing, we made one final update to our last episode so we could say goodbye instead of just game over.
It's a really interesting thing because they have already aired season 4. The show is already over. So what they're doing is they're not making another episode. They're not making a last episode. They're literally just adding something to the end or chopping off the end and making a new ending. Like they're like retconning their own show. I just think it's interesting because I always said that if I was running a TV show that I would try to negotiate in my contract that if I was canceled, they would give us one episode to finish the storyline, because my biggest pet peeve is when I get into a show and it's canceled before it ends. 4400 really pissed me off after 4 seasons, not getting an ending to that. Ugh. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just an epilogue or if it's just a scene, but it's really cool that they were able to negotiate like, hey, just let us do something to make it a proper ending to the show. Very, very interesting that they're doing that.
Very interesting indeed. I definitely didn't get to watch it, but I could see your passion of the show. And I mean, I think it's a great thing that they at least got an opportunity to get everybody together to at least end it the way they wanted to, since they probably thought they were going to get a whole new season. Right?
I imagine they would, even though, a lot of people are under the impression that they're going to keep going when they write the show. But then by the time it airs, it's already written. So if it's got a cliffhanger ending, by the time the chopping block happens, it's too late.
Yeah, what can you do?
Yeah. So, Warcraft, obviously, and Blizzard. Well, this would be like if a show took place in the offices of Blizzard. That's Mythic Quest. Yeah.
That's what I gathered from it. Yeah, it's kind of based off World of Warcraft.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Danny Pudi's in it. He played Abid in Community.
Is this the dude from It's Always Sunny?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Oh,
that's Rob McElhenney.
I'm terrible. I see. I never knew his name. That's why I couldn't read it.
Yeah, fair enough.
To be fair, his name looks weird.
Not at all, but yeah. So great show, and cool that they got an ending.
No, very cool. And honestly, that kind of brings us to the ending here of the podcast. I mean, I think that today was awesome.
I do too, but you know what? It kind of can transfer into a little bit of back to our beginning talk with now. Do you think in your bomb shelter, right back at the beginning, Ryan?
Okay.
Back at the beginning of the podcast, in your bomb shelter, do you think video games would help cope in being stuck underground for so long?
Definitely.
Because I was thinking of the kind of virtual reality we have now. And I feel like that's a great way to combat feeling isolated underground or even in space. Like if you had a holodeck like they do in Star Trek, that's probably a lot to do with what makes you not go crazy. So if we're in our little underground, mine's a school bus, yours is whatever, I think we need I think we need like an Oculus. I think we need some 3D video games. I think it would help.
I like that idea. And another one that I thought of in, I believe it was Aliens, the sequel to Alien. We find Ripley in like a nature room because they're on a ship, so it like simulates being out in nature. Like there's like a fake tree, and like you're sitting on with fake grass, and like there's like fake birds and stuff like that. Like there's
Yeah.
like a nature like simulator. I
Yeah.
feel like you'd need that just to keep from going insane, just being enclosed in steel walls all the time, you know?
Yeah, if we're just going to keep jumping pop culture, in the original Resident Evil movie, when they had the windows that weren't windows because they were underground, but it displayed an outside and gave sound and wind. Yeah, I can't lie. This one was a wild one, Ryan.
It really was. And I did want to actually say something about the Tanuki
Sure,
for
yeah,
our
yeah.
spooky stuff today. I started it by saying that my girlfriend suggested it, and she did, but she had no idea about the magic balls. Wanted everybody to know that firsthand. That's why I was joking about, oh, this is a cute one, because I wanted
You
to take
kept it
her.
a secret.
I wanted to keep that one a secret for that ride.
To be fair, if you make a suggestion of a topic and you don't do your research, that's on you.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It might just be a creature with malleable balls that it uses to turn into a tent or an umbrella.
Hey, there are many cultures out there in the world, and some of them have mystical creatures that have what we would consider strange properties from where we're at. But that doesn't mean they're not worth exploring, Ryan. So
That's
I
right.
say bring it on. You tell that girl to just suggest any cryptid that comes to mind. This one's gold. What else does she
I was
got?
going to say this was gold, so keep them coming, babe.
So, guys, what did you think? Did you like what you heard today? If so, please tell us on Facebook or Instagram. Direct messages are totally fine. Or you could email us directly at earthlingentertainmentpodcast@gmail.com.
And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to share this podcast with a coworker, with a friend, with a family member, a loved one, and just a fellow Earthling, because we are all Earthlings. And welcome to the entertainment.
That's right. Please download the episode. Downloading the episode is actually the best way to support the show.
It is.
And from all of us here at Earthling Entertainment, we'd like to say, see you next week.
See you then.